What kind of person finds their neighbor $50,000 over a backyard barbecue? The kind who thrives on control, who sees every blade of grass out of place as a personal affront. That was Karen, our HOA president, a woman whose presence could sour the sweetest summer day. Her shadow loomed over Lake Serenity, our little community nestled around a shimmering lake in upstate New York. I'd lived here for 3 years. A modest cabin, my refuge after a messy divorce. A place to rebuild with my daughter, Lily. The lake was our sanctuary until Karen decided my barbecue was a crime. Smoke from my grill, she claimed, violated some obscure HOA rule about nuisance odors. The fine arrived in a crisp envelope. The number $50. 000 staring back like a slap. $50,000. For a barbecue. I stood in my kitchen, Lily coloring at the table, her crayons scratching softly, oblivious to the storm brewing. My hands shook as I read the letter again, the words blurring. How could a woman I barely knew wield this kind of power? How could she look at my tiny cabin, my single dad life, and think this was justice? I wasn't just angry, I was terrified. That kind of money could ruin us, force us out of the home we'd scraped together. But I wasn't going to roll over. Not yet. I started digging. Karen's reign over Lake Serenity was legendary. Her rulebook thicker than a Bible and twice as unforgiving. She'd fine the Millers for their dogs barking, dock the Wilsons for an unapproved mailbox. But this was personal. I'd seen her at HOA meetings, her sharp eyes scanning for infractions, her voice cutting through dissent like a knife. She lived in the biggest house on the lake, a sprawling monstrosity with perfect lawns and a private dock. She didn't just enforce rules, she was the rules. I pulled every HOA document I could find, scouring bylaws for a loophole. Lily, sensing my tension, slipped a drawing of a rainbow under my arm. It'll be okay, Dad, she said, her voice small but certain. I hugged her, promising I'd fix this. But doubt gnawed at me. Karen wasn't just a bully, she was meticulous. Her fines backed by a board of loyalists who nodded at her every word. I needed something bigger, something she couldn't ignore. Then I found it, buried in a dusty box of property records I'd inherited with the cabin. A deed, yellowed and brittle, dated 1923. It wasn't just any deed, it was the original title to the lake itself, tied to my property. My great-uncle, the cabin's first owner, had purchased not just the land but a controlling share of Lake Serenity's water rights. The fine print was clear. My property held the sole legal access to the lake's water supply, a quirk from when the lake was privately owned. Every house, including Karen's, depended on a shared well system that ran through my land. If I chose, I could cut it off. Legally. Completely. The realization hit like a spark. Karen thought she had me cornered, but I held the key to her precious lakefront empire. I wasn't just fighting a fine anymore, I was fighting for my home, my daughter, our future. I didn't act right away. I needed proof, leverage, a plan. I took the deed to a lawyer, a grizzled old man named Tom who'd seen every kind of small-town feud. He squinted at the paper, then grinned. This is dynamite, Jack. She can't touch you with this. He explained the deed's power, the well system, built decades ago, was grandfathered under my property's rights. Karen's house, her perfect lawns, her dock, they all relied on my water. If I shut it off, her empire would dry up. Literally. Tom warned me to tread carefully. Karen wouldn't go down without a fight. I spent nights poring over the deed, weighing my options. Part of me wanted to storm her doorstep, shove the paper in her face, and watch her squirm. But I knew better. She'd twist it, rally her board, maybe even sue me first. I needed to play her game public, calculated, undeniable. The HOA meeting was set for Saturday, and I spread the word quietly. Neighbors whispered about the fine, some sympathetic, others too scared of Karen to speak up. I didn't tell them about the deed not yet. I wanted her to feel untouchable, right up until she wasn't. The meeting was held at the community center, a stuffy room overlooking the lake. Karen sat at the head table, her posture rigid, her smile a thin veneer of civility. I stood in the back, clutching the deed in my jacket, heart pounding. When she called my name, her voice dripped with condescension. "Jack, regarding your violation smoke nuisance. $50. 000 fine. Do you wish to appeal?" The room went silent. Eyes on me. I stepped forward, my voice steady despite the knot in my gut. "I do. And I have something you need to see." I unfolded the deed, holding it up for all to see. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Karen's smile faltered, just for a second, but I saw it. She recovered fast, her laugh sharp. "A piece of paper. Really? Jack? This is a waste of everyone's time." But I wasn't done. I read the deed aloud, every word deliberate, explaining the water rights, the well, her vulnerability. The room buzzed, neighbors shifting in their seats. Karen's face reddened, her hands gripping the table. "This is absurd," she snapped. "You can't just, our lawyers will bury you." But Tom, who'd slipped into the back, spoke up. "It's legal. Karen. Ironclad. Jack's land controls the water. All of it." The crowd erupted, voices overlapping, some angry, some triumphant. Karen banged her gavel, but no one listened. For the first time, she wasn't in control. I felt a surge of hope, but also dread. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Then came the twist, the one I hadn't seen coming. As the meeting dissolved into chaos, Mrs. Carter, a quiet widow who lived down the road, stood up. Her hands trembled, but her voice was firm. "Karen, you fined me last year for my garden. You said it was unsightly. I paid because I couldn't fight you. But I found something too." She held up a letter, her eyes blazing. "My husband was on the original HOA board. He kept records your husband bribed the county to approve your dock. Karen, it's illegal. I have proof." The room froze. Karen's face went pale, her authority crumbling like dry sand. 2 scandals in one nightmare deed. Her corruption. Neighbors who'd stayed silent for years found their voices, shouting questions, demanding answers. Karen tried to speak, but her words drowned in the uproar. I locked eyes with her, and for the first time, I saw fear. The meeting spilled onto the dock outside, the lake glinting under the setting sun. Karen stood cornered, her board members flanking her like bodyguards. But their confidence was gone. Neighbors crowded around, their anger a living thing, fed by years of her tyranny. I held the deed tight, my trump card. But Mrs. Carter's revelation had changed everything. Karen's dock, her pride and joy, was built on a bribia lie that could cost her everything. I stepped onto the dock, the wood creaking under my boots, and faced her. "Drop the fine, Karen," I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Or I shut off the water." Your house. Your lawn. Your dock gone. Her eyes narrowed. Venomous. But her voice shook. You wouldn't dare. You'll destroy this community. I laughed. Bitter. You did that already. She lunged forward, snatching at the deed. But I yanked it back. The crowd gasped. Someone shouting her name. Her board members hesitated, unsure whose side to take. You're bluffing, she hissed. But her hands betrayed her. Trembling. I leaned in, voice low. Test me. For a moment, it was just us. The lake lapping softly. The air electric. Then Mr. Wilson, a retired cop who'd kept quiet for years, stepped forward. I've got the county records, he said. Mrs. Carter's right. Your dock's illegal. Karen, step down, or we're calling the authorities. The crowd roared, a wave of defiance crashing over her. Karen's face twisted, rage giving way to panic. She opened her mouth, but no words came. For the first time, she had nothing to say. Her empire fell apart in minutes. The board, sensing the tide, turned on her. One by one, they voted to suspend her, their voices cold. Final. Karen tried to argue, her voice shrill, but the neighbors drowned her out, demanding her resignation. She stumbled back, her heels catching on the dock, and for a moment I thought she'd fall into the lake. Part of me wished she had. Instead, she turned and fled to her car, the crowd parting like she was poison. The fine was voided that night. The HOA board dissolved and reformed without her. Mrs. Carter's evidence went to the county, and Karen's dock was torn down within a week. Her bribe exposed in the local paper. Her house, once the jewel of Lake Serenity, went dry when I temporarily shut off the well just long enough to make my point. She sold the place a month later, moving God knows where. Her name a cautionary tale. I didn't feel like a hero. Standing on my porch, watching Lily play by the lake, I felt relief, but also guilt. I'd almost lost everything, and I'd been ready to burn it all down to save us. The deed was my weapon, but it was Mrs. Carter's courage, the neighbors' voices. That won the day. Lake Serenity changed after that. We rewrote the HOA rules, made them fair, human. No more fines for barbecues or gardens. No more tyrants. Lily ran up, handing me a new drawing a lake with a rainbow. Our cabin small but bright. We're okay now, right, Dad? She asked. I nodded, pulling her close. We were more than okay. We were free. The lake sparkled under the morning sun. Its water ours again, not just mine, but everyone's. I never used the deed again, but I kept it. A reminder of what we'd fought for. Karen's shadow was gone, and in its place was something better, a community that remembered how to stand together. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. And that was enough.